What is up, guys? EJ here, back with another video, and today it's going to be my Blu-ray DVD collection for 2012, Action Part 1. Yesterday I posted my overview video of my collection, so if you want to go check that out. But today we get into the genres one by one. Today I'll be doing action, and I'm breaking this up into two parts. I might also cut when I do each little section here, which is about 20 films, that way, because my arm tends to get very tired as I pull these out and look at them and talk about them, as I found out in the past doing this before, when they're on the top shelf like this, having to reach up, it sort of wears out my arm. But anyway, let's get into it. So first we have Two Guns from when this came out, like 2011 or something, 2012, something like that. Denzel Washington and Mark Wahlberg. Pretty decent movie. Up next we have 48 Hours, 1982 classic with Nick Nolte and Eddie Murphy. Don't have the sequel, Another 48 Hours. Not sure why, I just don't really remember that film at all. Up next we have The A-Team from 2010. Yeah, I really enjoyed this. I love the original 80s TV series, which I have, of course, on DVD. Liam Neeson, Bradley Cooper, Sholto Copley, Rampage Jackson. I like the action a lot in that film. I'm surprised it didn't do a lot better. Up next we have Above the Law, Steven Seagal classic from 1988. Fun fact, the quiz I take part in each week with family members, we had a whole category yesterday about Steven Seagal. So we had 10 questions about Seagal, and one of the questions was, what was his debut film? And the answer is this, Above the Law. Yeah, sadly I know a lot of Steven Seagal knowledge because I did really well in that category. Up next we have Assault on Precinct 13 from 1976, John Carpenter classic. Didn't like the remake. Up next we have Bad Boys from 1995, Michael Bay's first film with Will Smith and Martin Lawrence, of course. Wasn't a fan of the sequel, but I did like the new one, Bad Boys for Life, from this year. I watched that just a couple weeks ago. So I'll probably be getting that on Blu-ray. Up next we have Battle Royale, great Japanese sort of survival film for students, Hunger Games style if you like. Really great batshit crazy film from 2000. Up next we have A Better Tomorrow from 1986, John Woo classic with Chow Yun-fat. Of course, this is a different edition than what I used to have. You may have, if you've seen my previous videos, I had some editions of movies. I had a bunch of Canadian titles. I tried to clean that up in recent years after I did those videos, and I didn't love my edition of A Better Tomorrow, so I also got that one. Up next we have The Big Hit from 1998 with Mark Wahlberg, Lou Diamond Phillips, Christina Applegate, Joaquin Woodbine. Fun film, but not a great movie from what I remember. Up next, another John Carpenter classic. Love this movie, Big Trouble in Little China from 1986 with Kurt Russell and Kim Cattrall, of course, set in San Francisco. Up next we have Charlie's Angels from 2000 with Drew Barrymore, Cameron Diaz, and Lucy Liu. I enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Sam Rockwell fun is one of the villains. I did not like the Elizabeth Banks remake that she did last year that came out Christmas of all times. I watched that a couple months ago. I also have the sequel, Charlie's Angels Full Throttle from, I don't know, 2003 or 4, who knows. Up next, we got a Sylvester Stallone classic, Cliffhanger from 1993. Love John Lithgow as the villain in this film. Next, we have Cobra, another Stallone classic from 1985, I believe, or 86, one of those. Up next, we have Collateral Damage from 2002. Good, underrated Arnold Schwarzenegger film. Just a regular guy trying to avenge the death of his loved ones by terrorist bombings, from what I remember. Up next we have Commando, absolute classic Arnold from 1986, director's cut. Love this movie, one of my favorite Arnold Schwarzenegger films. Alright, up next, Con Air, yeah, from 1997. That period of Bruckheimer, Nicolas Cage collaborations that were with The Rock and Face Off. The heyday of Nicolas Cage action movies with John Malkovich and John Cusack. Not a bigger fan of this as I am of The Rock and Face Off, but still a good flick. Up next we have Condor Man from 1981, great Disney action spy film with Michael Crawford and Barbara Carrera. Loved this movie as a kid growing up, still fantastic. Okay, up next we have Crank. Jason Statham, Amy Smart, really fun, great, crazy action movie. And I also have the sequel, Crank 2 High Voltage. And another Jason Statham film, Death Race, remake of the Roger Corman classic from 1975, which I also have. Yeah, this one co-starring Joan Allen, Ian McShane. I know there's a couple sequels to this, which I still have not seen. So that is Death Race. Alright, up next we have, this one's a little tight in there, Death Warrant, Jean-Claude Van Damme from 1990. Okay, up next we have Bruce Willis, Death Wish from just a couple years ago now, 2018 I believe. Yeah, good film, I enjoyed it. I don't have the original Charles Bronson movies, the Death Wish movies, but yeah, I like that remake. Of course, gotta have the Bruce Willis Die Hard collection, Ultimate Collection, of course, Die Hard from 1988, my all-time favorite action movie. Die Hard 2, Die Harder from 1990, still a good flick. Of course, takes place at Washington Dulles Airport. And Die Hard with a Vengeance was really loads of fun with Samuel L. Jackson, Jeremy Irons in New York City. Really cool sequel. Okay, up next we have Live Free or Die Hard. Yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot as well with Justin Long and Tim Oliphant, or Oliphantastic as he's known in the business. Yeah, I enjoyed this one a lot. Put that there so I can get these out easier. Good Day to Die Hard, probably the least least good of the Die Hard sequels, that's for sure. What's his name that plays the son in this? Was not a fan of him in this. He's been in a bunch of stuff as well recently. I always forget his name though. Anyway, moving on, we have Domino from 2005, good Tony Scott film, starring Keira Knightley, Mickey Rourke, Edgar was it Ramirez, about bounty hunters. Okay, up next we have Eraser from 1996, really underrated Schwarzenegger flick, co-starring Vanessa Williams. Yeah, it's James Caan, the baddie in this, from what I remember. Is that who I'm thinking of? James, I see a James there, I can't read that. Yeah, it is. Yeah, James Caan, there it is. Yeah. That took too long. Alright, up next we have the Equalizer films, starring Denzel Washington. The first one directed by Antoine Fuqua. Like that one a lot. The sequel from a couple years ago, not as good as the first one I thought, but still enjoyable. Alright, up next, Executive Decision from 1996, starring Kurt Russell, Steven Seagal as a small part at the beginning. Halle Berry, from what I remember, it plays a stewardess. That was also one of the questions from yesterday's quiz. Up next we have the Expendables trilogy. Of course, Stallone, Statham, Jet Li, Dolph Lundgren, etc. Yeah, that one's okay. Expendables 2 is awesome. I absolutely love this one. This is my favorite of the trilogy. Jean-Claude Van Damme was fantastic as the villain. You got the additions of Schwarzenegger and Bruce Willis. Absolutely loved the second one. And Expendables 3 was completely ridiculous. Probably the worst of those three. Alright, up next, the aforementioned Face Off, John Woo classic from 97. John Travolta and Nicolas Cage, just fantastic. The action scenes are just great, operatic, and action movie. You got great supporting cast like Gina Gershon. So that is Face Off. Alright, up next we have the Fast and Furious franchise. The Fast and Furious, the first one from 2001 with Paul Walker and Vin Diesel. Still one of my favorites of the franchise. Okay, up next we have Too Fast, Too Furious. The Fast and Furious Tokyo Drift, probably my least favorite sequel. Fast and Furious. Fast 5, definitely one of my favorite of the sequels with The Rock, of course. Then we have Fast and Furious 6, Furious 7. Yeah, I believe this was, or Fast and Furious 6 was the last one Paul Walker was in, sadly. Of course, his tragic passing. The Fate of the Furious, and of course Fast 9 is coming out, I don't know, next year, maybe next summer now, I guess. Looking forward to that, but this franchise should have ended a couple movies ago, if you ask me. Alright, up next we have Faster, another Dwayne Johnson, The Rock film. Yeah, good movie from 2010 with Billy Bob Thornton. Another Seagal classic, Fire Down Below from 1996 with Marge Helgenberger. Okay, up next we have The Foreigner with Jackie Chan and Pierce Brosnan. Yeah, I like this film a lot. Sort of similar to Collateral Damage, just a regular guy who tries to avenge the death of his family after a bombing in London. Sort of delves into the IRA, and yeah, I really enjoyed that film a lot. I thought Jackie Chan was really good and Pierce Brosnan was good too. Up next, we have a fun action movie, From Paris with Love, with John Travolta and Jonathan Rhys-Meyers. Up next, still have not upgraded my copy of The Fugitive, but of course, classic from 1993 with Harrison Ford and Tommy Lee Jones. And sort of quasi-sequel, U.S. Marshals. See, I've changed my edition. I don't have the Canadian version anymore. Of course, with Tommy Lee Jones, Wesley Snipes, and Robert Downey Jr. playing an okay villain in that film. Up next, we have The Glimmer Man, another Seagal classic. No questions about The Glimmer Man yesterday, with Keenan Ivory Wayans. Not one of his best, definitely not one of my favorite Seagal movies. Okay, up next we have Gone in 60 Seconds, the 2000 remake with Nicolas Cage, Angelina Jolie, Robert Duvall, Giovanni Ribisi. Okay flick. Up next we have Hard Target, John Woo's first American film. I really enjoyed this movie. Sort of a similar story to Surviving the Game, which I love as well, about sort of wealthy mercenaries who hunt like homeless people, will people, for sport and for money. This one takes place in New Orleans. Good villains in this film. Arnold Vosloo, especially memorable in that movie. Up next we have Hard to Kill, another Seagal classic from 1990 with Kelly LeBrock. Okay, up next we have Hardcore Henry from 2017. Really fun, crazy action point of view movie. I really enjoyed this a lot. Just sort of a 85-minute romp. It was really a lot of fun. Up next we have Hitman, again with Tim Oliphant from 2009, I believe. Not great. I didn't like the sequel either, but okay. Never played the video game really, so not really a fan of that. Up next we have The Hitman's Bodyguard. Yeah, I enjoyed this film quite a bit from a couple years ago now, with Ryan Reynolds, Samuel L. Jackson, Gary Oldman, and Salma Hayek. And finishing off this little section, we have Hot Fuzz. Great film, really funny, with Simon Pegg and Nick Frost. Alright, moving on down, we have JCVD, of course starring Jean-Claude Van Damme. Easy for me to say. Yeah, really great performance by Jean-Claude. One of his best last movies of recent years. Okay, up next we have John Wick on Blu-ray. Keanu Reeves, of course, fantastic flick, great gun fu action violence, of course. I also got the sequel, John Wick 2, Chapter 2, and I also enjoyed John Wick Chapter 3, Parabellum, so I'll be getting that on Blu-ray. Up next we have Kill Bill Volume 1, of course, Quentin Tarantino's epic from 2003. Starring Uma Thurman, Lucy Liu, Vivica A. Fox. Absolutely fantastic. And of course, Kill Bill Volume 2 with David Carradine, Michael Madsen, and Daryl Hannah as well. Love those two movies. Two of my favorite Tarantino films, that's for sure. I think I like Kill Bill Volume 2 a little bit better than the first one, but there you go. Killer Elite from, I don't know, 2012. Yeah, good underrated film with Jason Statham, Clive Owen, and Robert De Niro. Up next, we have Killing Gunter, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Kobe Smulders. Yeah, I enjoyed this film a lot, about a bunch of assassins trying to take on the world's most famous assassin, played by Arnold. From I think 2017. Yeah, not great, but I still enjoyed it. Up next we have Night and Day. Yeah, fun, really good action scenes starring Tom Cruise and Cameron Diaz. Okay, up next we have old classic Cuffs from 1992, I believe, with Christian Slater, Mila Jovovich. Always love her. Okay, up next we have Last Action Hero, 93 classic, of course, starring Arnold Schwarzenegger, Charles Dance, really fantastic as the villain. Yeah, it's a fun movie. The action scenes are ridiculous, but all these sort of homages to Arnold and other action stars and action movies is fun, even though the kid's kind of annoying in that film. Alright, up next we have The Last Boy Scouts from 1991. Bruce Willis and Damon Wayans. Tony Scott film, I believe. Yeah, I've always enjoyed this movie quite a bit. Alright, up next we have Last Man Standing from 96. Another Bruce Willis film. Christopher Walken, good as the bad guy in that one. Up next we have The Last Stand, another recent Schwarzenegger film I liked a lot, from I guess 2015, I believe, or 2016. Yeah, I liked his performance a lot in that film. Alright, up next we have the Lethal Weapon franchise, the first one from 1987, of course, Mel Gibson, Danny Glover, classic. Lethal Weapon 2, Lethal Weapon 3, Joe Pesci, of course, as well, and Lethal Weapon 4, Rene Russo, Chris Rock, Jet Li. Don't love the sequels to the Lethal Weapon franchise, but there you go. And I think last but not least, I'll end on the L's for this part 1. We have The Losers on Blu-ray. Yeah, really good, fun film from what I remember. Chris Evans is the main guy in it. So there you go. That is Action Part 1. Up next will be Action Part 2. Thank you for watching as always. And until next time, I'll see you.